Hello, today we are going to do part 2 of LFS, so building Linux from scratch. We are now at MonDB, which is chapter 8.74. We did make install and we cleaned up after MonDB. So the next one is procpsng. Okay, just a second, let me make sure we have a propose. We don't have which yet. Nothing appropriate. Okay, sounds good. Next. So we need procpsng. ls proc. Okay, so this is star minus x jvf procps cd procps. Okay, the configure step. Make step. Okay, let's see just a simple test. So I needed to restart my virtual machine. So I have a virtual machine that's Ubuntu 22.10, which has as a reminder, I have a 35 gigabyte SATA disk, which hosts the host operating system, which is Ubuntu 22.10, a virtual machine. Then I have another SATA disk in the virtual machine that's 100 gigabytes, which has two partitions, a 4 gigabyte partition, which is /dev/sdb1, which is for swap, and the rest /dev/sdb2 is ext4 for the Linux from scratch. Okay. I gave it 15 vCPUs and 15 gigabytes of RAM. And since I restarted the host machine, I needed to re-enter the chroot. So that's like this. I quickly went through the entire book, starting from the introduction. Okay, so I need to have the environment variable LFS set to /mnt/LFS. Where is that documented? In here, so export LFS equals /mnt/LFS, echo $LFS. I didn't configure any bash configuration files. I was just using the root user on the host machine, so I went this and that, and then I went really fast through all of the pages. So this directory already existed. I needed to mount dev/sdb2 as $LFS, then /bin/swap on -v/dev/sdb1, this directory existed, the stickiness was set, this file was downloaded, checksums were already checked, this directory existed already, this user existed already. I did not need to change as LFS user because /mnt/lfs, all of the directories in there were already owned by the user root and the group root, so I didn't want to change own back to LFS, because at a later step the $LFS file system is chained to the user root group root. Okay. Next. Okay. I'm not logged on as user LFS. In here it says I should build binutils. No, this was already built. So all of the step 1 was done already. Okay, so it says it's preparing to root. I'm still in 6.2. I should still use in chapter 6.2 the user LFS. M4 and courses, all of these were built already as user LFS. Did not need to do this. Okay, and now it says it's preparing to enter the root. The commands must be run as root with the LFS variable set, which I have. In here it changes ownership for /m and /LFS from the user LFS group LFS to the user root group root. So chown -r uppercase root : root. This was already done. And then no need to create these directories, they already exist. I needed to mount bind all of these and these. So I needed to run these 3 command lines blocks. This I could run it, it doesn't do anything harmful. If the directory already exists, it doesn't create the directory a second time. Okay, then I entered the root. It didn't say I have no name because I already had a /etc/password, so it said I'm user root inside of the LFS. Okay. And then I need to create directories. All of these directories were already created. /etc/mtab already is a symlink to /proc/self/mounts. /etc/hosts already looks okay. Groups and /etc/group and /etc/password is already okay. And it starts building. So getText, I have getText built. In fact, I have all of the packages from chapter 7 built. So now chapter 8. I don't do package management. All of these are built. And I stopped at MonDB, which is close to the end of chapter 8. So chapter 8.74. Now I started the second part of this screen recording with procpsng. So I did extract procpsng, configure, make check. I didn't need to run make check, but I did it just in case. And now make install. Okay, so it installs in /usr. /usr being inside of the root, so on the host that's /mnt/lfs/usr. Okay, so I have 3 in here. Okay, it should say 4 plus 2 megabytes, gigabytes of swap. Yes. PS, I have PS. Wow. Wait. So because proc PS is mounted from the host, I get to see the processes from the host. Okay. Next, I need to clean up after proc PS. So cd sources rmrvf, this thing. Okay. Next up, util Linux, ls util. Okay, extracted tar xjvf util Linux cd util Linux and configure step. Disable su. Okay, I need to export -j15 for my make flags. So I exported the environment variable all uppercase make flags with a value -j15 in order to make faster. Okay, I will not usually not run tests from packages, so I don't run the tests from util Linux. Make install. Okay, there's warnings. So what does the util Linux give us? Last, kill, find mnt, swap on, mount, make swap, demask. Okay. Next, e2fs progs. So clean up. ls e2fs tar -xjvf e2fs progs. Okay, cd e2fs progs. Intermediate build directory called build. Okay, configure step. Enable shared libraries. Okay, make. It says 4.4 SBU, so it went really fast for some reason. Remove static libraries. So a info file. Some additional documentation. I usually did this, although it's not necessary. contents of e2fs prog, so I expect this one, make filesystem.xd4. There's also change utter, okay. Tune to fs. Debugging symbols, okay, so this is it. I've installed e2fs progs. Let's clean up. I select and then I do middle click paste, such that I don't have to do Ctrl-Shift-V and Ctrl-Shift-C inside of the terminal to copy paste. Okay, so if I want to remove to free some space on the 100 gigabyte hard disk that I gave LFS to use, I could strip debug symbols out of binaries, so libraries and executables. A lot of this space can be regained by removing these symbols. This section is optional if the intended user is not a programmer and does not plan to do any debugging. The system size can be decreased by about 2 gigabytes by removing the debugging symbols and unneeded debug symbol tables from binaries and libraries. Okay, so I'm going to say pass. I don't really want to free up 2 gigabytes. I have enough space. It says I'm just using 5% out of slash, which is /dev/sdb to 100 gigabytes. So I'm going to not strip. Save USR lib. Obj copy, strip unneeded, obj copy. Okay, next. Finally, we clean up some extra files from running tests. Okay. There are also several files in /usr/lib with the extension LA, libtool archives, useful only for linking with static libraries. The compiler built in chapters 6 and 7 is still initially installed and not needed anymore. The one with triplet LFS. Remove the temporary user tester, which I did not create. Let's see if this thing gives an error. Not found. Okay, great. System configuration. Chapter 9. Network configuration. Okay, so this is the book Linux From Scratch that uses systemd, the version that uses systemd, latest version 11.2. So there's a systemd daemon called systemd networkd. There's also DNS resolution, systemd resolved instead of the static /etc/resolve.conf. Okay, I'm going to use networking. files in /etc/systemd/network have a higher priority are host files, where /usr/lib/systemd/network are Linux distribution files, so the OS files. There are three types of configuration files: .link, .netdev, and .network. Systemd link, systemd netdev, and systemd network man pages. Let's see if we have man pages. No man pages. Okay. Network device naming. UDEV normally assigns network card interface names based on physical system characteristics. After we boot the system, we can run IP link. Okay, so I like the stable names for network interface cards, the new naming, which considers the hardware that the network interface card uses. Systemd udevd. We need to boot the LFS system first. If I prefer classic names, there are three alternatives. Either we mask 99 default link, create a manual naming scheme /etc/systemd/network/10-adder 0.link, or in the Linux kernel command line, we pass net.ifnames equals 0. I'm not sure why it's showing me this chapter, because it's totally not actionable. I don't know the network device name. What is this chapter doing? I'm not sure what it's doing. Is it just an overview or something? So there was devfs, there's sysfs, there's udev. Okay. Duplicate devices. System clock. Why is it showing me these things? I cannot run systemctl disabled. I did not boot yet. Seychelles. Screen clearing at boot time. Systemd journal. Core dump ctl. So I know I need to build a Linux kernel. I know I need to install grub in /dev/sdb. And then the end. What now? LFS release, LSB release, OS release, get counted, reboot, and BLFS. Mount and then reboot. Okay. So it seems that we really need to run chapter 9 system configuration. Okay, so let's do that. So it's forcing us to go with net IF names of 0. Okay, so that means /dev/eth0. Okay. Static IP configuration. Okay. So why doesn't it use DHCP? I want DHCP. So this thing. And this is network device name just ETH 0 or /dev/ETH 0. Systemd network man. So name could be, where are you? All interfaces. Well, does it ignore hello or not? Yeah, it's probably ETH0 then. Okay. So this thing. So I'm not using static IP v4 configuration, but DHCP and DHCP IPv4. Etc resolve.conf, a static one. So says domain your domain name. IP address of your primary name server. Let's go with Google's. Hopefully we don't have IPv6. Your domain name. Can be omitted. I know. Something like that. Okay. Next, configuring the system hostname. Let's make that LFS 112. Okay, this thing. Do not enter a fully qualified domain name. Cat /etc/hostname. Okay, looking okay. Customizing the etc hosts file. An IP address in the private range. What's this? I know. Copy. Control A, Control V. FQDN and hostname. So this is the FQDN. And just the hostname. I don't really know what IP address this thing will have. I'm using DHCP, so I'm going to just comment out this line. I'm also going to comment out the IPv6 ones. So it says localhost 127.0.0.1, localhost.localdomain. And then localhost. And then 127.0.1.1 is the FQDN and the hostname. Okay, looking good. Next, device and module handling. I don't use any special modules. It's just a QEMU virt manager virtual machine that doesn't use virt.io devices. Okay. Duplicate devices. I'm not going to have such a thing. The system clock. So there is a system D, time date D, system service daemon, which configures system clock and time zone. My hardware clock should be UTC because I'm in a virtual machine that's configured for Linux. So yes, it's UTC. System D time date D reads /etc/edge time. And depending on the contents of the file, sets the clock to either UTC or local time. Why would I want to set it to local time? Adjust the file according to that if the file is missing. I don't know. Let's try something. So I'm going to put instead of local UTC. Hopefully it works. You can also use time date TTL to set the hardware clock to UTC. Also, I can change the time zone, timestamp, list time zones. No time zones. No system D either. Doesn't work in the chroot, can only be used after the LFS system is booted. Okay. There's a system D time sync D. Time sync D. NTP servers, remote NTP servers. It's a client-only implementation of the secure NTP protocol. Okay. Time sync D is enabled by default. It's okay. There's a /etc/systemd/timesyncd.conf file. Probably there's no such thing. There is. Okay. So Google is preferred in here. Next. Configuring the Linux console. There's a systemd vconsole setup system service which configures the virtual console font and console keymap. There's a /etc/vconsoleconf. Germany. I don't want to go German. I don't want a special font. We'll probably skip this chapter. using any of the parameters listed above requires the X keyboard config package from beyond Linux from scratch. So I don't even have this thing. System locale. So let's go with a US locale if we have such a thing. I English US UTF-8, this thing. Local language, local int prefix. Char map and modifiers. And what's a char map? Should be replaced with a canonical char map for your chosen locale. Okay. So this thing. Ctrl-Shift-V. UTF-8. Okay, I understand. So underscore is so this is EN, this is underscore, this is US, and this is UTF-8 with all uppercase. Okay, so I need to create this file. I don't know if I have this locale on the LFS machine. Ctrl-Shift-V. You can modify /etc/locale.conf with locale ctl. Locale ctl does not work in the root environment. The C default and NUS are different. C uses 7-bit. Question marks for bits for the 8-bit. Okay. Input RC. Generic global input RC. What does it do? I don't know. We'll try with this one. Ctrl-Shift-V. Next. Add C shells. Yeah, we have bash available. Which bash? No which yet. Yes. For chain shell. CHCSH. Disabling screen clearing at boot time. I don't know what this thing does. The boot message is journal ctl-b. Okay. /tmp as tmpfs. Do not create a symbolic link above if a separate partition is used for /tmp. Okay. Automatic file creation and deletion. So there's systemd-temp files clean, systemd-temp file setup dev, systemd-temp file setup device. The default parameters, I don't know which they are, but I'm going to leave them as they are. Okay, if this file already exists, it's going to be used. The one from /usr. Okay, overriding default services behavior. The parameters of a unit can be overridden by creating a directory and configuring it in /etc/systemd/system. So foobar.service.d, and in there we create a foobar.conf where we say that we add additional settings, configurations for the foobar service. Then systemctl daemon reload, systemctl restart foobar. Debugging the boot sequence, systemd journald, journalctl, coredumpctl. All user processes are killed when a user session is ended, even if no hoop is used, or the process uses the daemon set seed functions. This is deliberate. The new behavior may cause issues if you depend on long-running processes such as screen and Emacs. There are 3 ways to enable lingering processes to remain after a user session is enabled. Enable process lingering for only selected users. System-wide. Kill user processes no in /etc/systemd/login_d.conf. And at build time. When you build the system, do it mess on. Okay, next. So we need the FS tab. Okay, what's the FS tab going to be like? I don't know. Should I use SDB or should I just remove the host hard disk? So should I remove this disk and leave only this? Let's try with SDB first. Okay, so swap is SDB1 and this is SDB2 and type is ext4. Where are you? Let's blk. Slash is SDB2 and SDB1 is the swap. Okay, this thing. Where are you? Copy, Ctrl-Shift-V. The file system is ext4. Okay, I don't want to mount USB flash drives. No long names, no fat. superior 1 hd parm lvm next. Okay, so another tarball that we need to build, the one for Linux with an unknown amount of SBUs. tar-xjvf Linux cd linux make Mr. Proper Why does it provide me the option for make menu config? Can't we do use an existing configuration? Alternatively, make old config may be more appropriate. Yeah, but what does make old config do? Make dev config. So it says make old config may be more appropriate. Or copy the kernel configuration from the host system. It's often better to explore all configuration menus and create a kernel configuration from scratch. I don't know. What does this thing do? So there's a configuration written to .config. Okay, so we still have the host operating system. We can boot there if we want. Okay. Huge list. Let's try. So let's try first with make dev config. So it will look at my current system and will try to guess a correct .config file. I'm not using UEFI. What does make old config do? Doesn't open in N courses way the configuration that we just created. No change to .config. Okay, I don't know what I do not know what I'm doing. I've never built the Linux kernel before. Okay. After kernel compilation is complete, additional steps are required to complete the installation. Some files need to be copied to /boot. If the system has a separate /boot, it has not. The easiest way to do that is to bind /boot on the host. I don't want to do that. I want to boot using the grub installed on LFS, not on the host machine or the host operating system. So in here it says that I should not delete the directory where I extracted the kernel, Linux kernel source code. Okay. I'll do a bit of reading. I'll wait for the build to finish and then I'll be back. Okay, so I finished immediately after that. So it says I should make modules install. It puts files into /lib/modules. Some files need to be copied to /boot. The path of to the kernel image may vary depending on the platform being used. The file name below can be changed to suit your taste, but the stem of the file name should be vm-linux. Okay. So 5.19.2. So this command line seems to be okay. So it copied, okay. System map. Kernel configuration file produced by make menu config. Make diff config in my case. Okay. The documentation. If the kernel source tree is going to be retained, all files should be owned by root. If the kernel source tree is going to be retained, it's going to be retained. Okay. Some kernel documentation, okay. /usr/include. I didn't do anything for /usr/include for kernel headers. I just ran make modules install. And even make modules install didn't do much. Okay, so we did this step when building the glibc sanitized kernel headers. Okay, that's why we're not copying the .h files from the Linux kernel source tree to /usr/include. It recommends that I create this file. Okay. So contents of the Linux package, a kernel, a system map, and a configuration file. /lib/modules and documentation. Next. If your system has UEFI, nope. I created this such that I don't have to deal with UEFI and GPT. Where are you? In here. So it says BIOS, and the hard disks are SATA SSDs. The partition table is MBR. If you may just want to modify the current bootloader of the host operating system, I do not want to do that. An emergency boot disk is ready to rescue the computer if the computer becomes unbootable. If you do not already have a boot device, you can create one. I'm not going to install Xorizo. Group naming conventions. Hard drive number and the partition number. So starts with 0, starts from 1, and 5 for extended. Okay. So we're on SDB2, so that's HD 1.2. Writes data to the first physical track of the hard disk. This area is not part of any file system. /boot/grub. Separate small 200 megabytes partition just for boot. No, thank you. I don't use multiple systems. Install the grub files into /boot/grub and set up the boot track. Okay. So this thing is SDB. ls/boot and grub. Okay, looks okay. We'll override the MBR. master boot record the current bootloader of the SDB, the second SATA SSD. The system has been booted with UEFI. Grub install will try to install the files for x86-64 EFI. No. But those files have not been installed, so I need to go -minus target i386 -pc. So it worked. Create the group configuration file. Okay, let's improve this thing. So it says that it tries to use SDA2, and that's HD0, 2. So we're on SDB2, which is HD1 and 2. So it says default 0, timeout 5, insmod ext2, why not 4? Okay. So the correct route, this is the second hard disk and this is the second partition. Correct. And GNU Linux, LFS, systemd Linux, okay, SDB2. Okay, so SDB2 in here. Nothing to edit in here. I edited in here. This remains the same. If I add or remove disks, may cause boot failures. You may use UUID. Let's see what that is. I don't have access to them here. No, I need in the virtual machine. SSH. At 192, 168, 122.52. Okay. So I have these numbers. What next? UID of a partition and the UID of a file system is completely different. SDB doesn't have such a thing. Okay. So we have two disks in the virtual machine. We have this, which is SDA, and this, which is SDB. Both have an MBR, both have a grub running. So how am I going to choose the second, to boot from the second one? Oh, in here. Okay, okay. So I'll keep it as is. ext2, HD1 and 2, SDB2 looks okay. Grub may config, that will write a configuration file automatically. set of scripts in /etc/group.d. Not recommended for LFS. Okay. This thing then. And let's check that this thing really exists. Yes, it does. The end. We're nearing the end. Let's put the host name and distribution. The OS data. The data about the OS. Version code name. What's this? Distrib code name. Control C, Control Shift V. And this thing. Okay, I did customize to make it uniquely mine. Next. Let's reboot into LFS. Will it work or not? No wget, no client, no nothing. I'm not sure if I want to reboot without actually having an SSH server or something. I have that thing. How am I going to connect to this machine? So everything is optional. Okay, let's try with this. So we keep the source code for the Linux kernel. We download how do we download this thing? We don't have a wget. So I need to do some of these. Let's see links first. I can't because I cannot download things. That's a bad spot to be in. Totally LFS should include openssh. No escape from here. That's root. So let's do it. How do I do it? Become super user. Okay, let's see if we can still use the directory that's currently inside of the root. So lynx. Okay, make CA. Required P11 kit. Oh, mom. Copy link, Ctrl Shift V. Thing. Did I do make CA? wget, Ctrl Shift V. Okay, next. Open SSH and wget. Wget first. Okay, and open SSH. Okay, back to the root. Let's try to build all of these things. So links, can that thing use make CA? Not really. Okay, ls links tar minus xjvf links cd links. Okay, patch. Configure make. I'm not sure if it will be able to use OpenSSL and HTTPS. Okay, so it says make living directory. This thing. What else with SSL? So did we do with SSL? Yes, we did, and we wanted OpenSSL. Okay, great. So we might have HTTPS working. We'll fix this if needed. Let's test first. So lynx https google.com SSL error, unable to get local issuer certificate. Continue. Yes. Pending allow. Always. Okay. Unable to get. Continue. Yes. Allow. Always. Okay. Looking good. Q to quit. Enter. Now we didn't build yet make CA. That's a problem. CD. Let's make var minus x jvf make minus CA. CD make. Okay. We need P11 kit. So CD out ls P11 var minus x jvf P11 CD P11. Okay. Ctrl Shift V. Meson and Ninja. Okay. Ninja test. Let's see some tests. Really curious. Okay, great. Okay. P11 kit trust module. What else? We didn't do make CA yet. Um, okay. Download the certificate source and prepare the system for use. Certdata.txt. You should periodically update the store with the timer. Mozilla release branch. Adding additional CA certificates. Okay, so do we need to run this thing? Could be. No /usr/bin/trust. Okay, so I tried to boot the new system and it failed because I did make devconfig. I did not do make menu config, and make devconfig was not enough when compiling the Linux kernel. I also needed to set all of these settings. So what I tried now is make devconfig, which creates a .config file with certain settings, and then I ran make menu config, and I've configured all of these settings as specified here. So this is a disable setting, this is a enable setting. There's no setting that results in a Linux kernel module being created. Okay, so first of all I ran make devconfig, then make menu config. Let's see how make menu config looks like. Okay, so again make devconfig, make menu config, and then this is a top level item, so general setup. Let's go there, enter. It says compile the kernel with warnings as errors. This thing, so this I needed to disable it. So you can use Y to enable. So Y, uppercase or lowercase, does not matter, or the space button on your keyboard. M to modularize, but I didn't need to modularize anything, so just Y or N or the spacebar. Okay, auditing support, general setup, auditing support. This thing, this needs to be disabled. Then says CPU task time and stats accounting, which is this. You enter by pressing the enter key, and then it says pressure stall information tracking. This thing should be enabled. Okay, and now you're in general setup, and then under CPU task time and stats accounting at pressure stall information tracking. So you need to exit from here to here. So it says that you should press escape key twice to exit. So escape, escape. So we did this, then enable kernel headers. This thing. So should be disabled. Control group support. This thing should be enabled, and you should enter it. It says memory controller. This thing was disabled and I've enabled it. Escape, escape to go one level up, which is the top level, the level general setup. No, there's one level above this. Okay, and then enable deprecated sysfs features. Where are you? Okay, then configure standard kernel features. Configure standard kernel features expert users. Open by fhandle syscalls. Okay, so now we're here. We need to exit here. So escape. We're in general setup. And now we need to get at the sibling of general setup, which is general architecture dependent options. So escape once, twice. Okay. And then general architecture dependent options, and then enable seccomp to safely execute untrusted code. Escape, networking options, networking options, etc. At the end, so I need to do all of these settings, and then these settings, but in this order. So first you configure this is enabled and cannot be disabled. Then config IRQ remap, this thing. Then config x2apic, and the last one, this disable config user fault fd. After all is done, you go save, and then you go exit. You wish to save your configuration? I already did, so no. And then I run make. Okay, next make modules install. Okay, I need to run all of these installation steps. Yes. Okay, so I've configured group such that it uses the network interface cards will be named ETH0. Although I'm booting from SDA, from SDB, I needed to use SDA in here because the SDA is the device that we're putting from, even though it's the second in the hardware list, because we boot it from there, group thinks that it's the first in order. So that's why we have HD0 and 2, not HD1 and 2. But we'll see if the system boots or not. Okay, just a second. Let me run grub install again. No error reported. Okay, so the thing to do is to always use UUIDs and never use these flaky HD0 and 2 and dev SDA2. Okay, but we can correct this because grub was installed in the MBR, so in there we can both edit the command line or enter a shell, a group shell, and we can boot from there in case of emergency if the configuration is wrong. Okay, we did all of these things. Okay, so I installed a text user interface command line web browser, which is Lynx with a Y. I installed make.ca to have CAs, so certificate authorities for browsing HTTPS websites. I've installed the openssh server. I've installed but not enabled it. So systemd doesn't know how to start it, but I'll configure it or I'll start it manually if needed. And then wget in order to download other source tarballs such that I continue building things from BLFS if I don't have enough things in LFS. I don't know, maybe MC Midnight Commander, maybe Emacs or something, I don't know. Do I have Emacs? Nope. Okay, so here goes nothing. Let's try to boot. Just this thing. And let's go for hold for now and think about how we edit the virtual machine. So the virtual machine has stopped. The big hard disk, the 100 gigabyte, is the one for LFS. The other one is for the host operating system, which is Ubuntu. At boot options, we'll remove SDA1 and keep just SDA2, which is or SATA disk 2. So only the SSD with the LFS operating system, not the one with the host Ubuntu 22.10 operating system. Okay, I just kept 2. Let's start and see. Okay, so we can see the correct group and the correct the correct MBR, so it started from the correct hard disk. It uses the correct partition. It found the correct /boot directory. It found the correct VM Linux kernel image, but the combination systemd plus the Linux kernel is not enough. So in here it offers that I boot with an emergency shell such as /bin/bash instead of /sbin/init. No working init found. sbin/init is not a valid init, a working init. Okay, I'll research some more. Okay, so after I finished building LFS, I've created a bootable hard disk. I have the virtual machine created in virt manager QEMU, and then if I start the virtual machine, it refuses to boot and has a kernel panic. And after the kernel panic, I cannot scroll up. So there's no shift page up. There's no other way for me to really see what's happening. The message is not written to the hard disk. So the only possible way for me to help myself is to go the serial port route. So since it's not a hardware machine, I don't need to solder things. It's a virtual machine, so I can go with the QEMU command line possibilities for a serial connection. Okay, but I don't know how to start a virtual machine using QEMU because the virtual machine runs using virt manager. So I did a ps aux, which gives us the list of processes, and I grabbed by QEMU, and it said that the command line is this huge giant thing. So in fact, virt manager starts QEMU -system -x86_64 with a bunch of parameters with a long command line. I copy the command line over, and I'm trying to start virt manager QEMU with just the virtual hard disk specified and nothing else. So the only thing that I have specified is this thing. Not 15 vCPUs. Okay, so the hard disk. And then looking at the start of the command line, I can see that I probably want to say accel kvm, so I did that. And memory 153, so 15 gigabytes of RAM. I didn't specify what type of host, how many vCPUs. And the command line is this. So QEMU system x86_64 accel kvm, so this thing. Cannot find it right now. And then I accel kvm, this thing. And then nothing about CPU, nothing about network interface cards, memory, and then straight the QCOW image. I couldn't start the virtual machine like this because I'm not running as root, and the image from var libvirt is owned by the user root. So I copied the file over and I choned it, I made it owned by my user and my user group. This thing. So using sudo, I copied the qcow to the current directory. Then I changed the owner of the file to my user group. And then I'm starting the virtual machine with the simplest possible command line for QEMU, which is this. And then all of a sudden everything just works. So I can see systemd, this list of OKs. What doesn't work is that in Virt Manager I had two hard disks. One was 35 GB for the Kubuntu 22.10 host OS, and the other one was 100 GB for LFS. And now I only specifying the second hard disk, the 100 GB one for LFS. That's why systemd tries for 90 seconds to also mount /dev/sdb1. I don't know of a way to skip this thing, so I'm going to wait a bit. And then networking works, systemd worked correctly. SDA2 remounted because it had the command Linux kernel. No. Yeah, it has the... So grub is correctly configured. It has RO in the command line. udev works. Network interface cards work. The DHCP client works. DNS, routing, everything. Okay. I'm using the user root and my password. Okay, what can I do in here? I don't have a orthodox file manager such as MC yet. The most complicated text user interface application that I have installed in here is Lynx. Wikipedia.org. And it doesn't recognize the CA probably, the certificate authority, root certificates. So I need to go always and allow continue. Need to change the language. Continue, yes. Always. Yes. And voila, here is Wikipedia. Okay, so I've managed to boot the LFS operating system using QEMU, and then I managed to also boot it using Virt Manager. The only thing that I needed to do was to remove the SATA disk of 35 GB where the host operating system Kubuntu 22.10 was. And now, since I have just one SATA disk, that's clearly SDA, And it's clear that on SDA1 there's the swap for gigabytes partition, and on SDA2 it's the rest of the 100 gigabyte for slash. So no more ambiguities in the group configuration. Okay. And it waited 90 minutes for the other SATA disk to become available, but it did not. Where are you? User wrote my password. Let's see what's the problem with why does it need a second SATA disk? So these are wrong. I don't have an editor. Do I have one? Yeah, I do. Okay, so E. So we have just one disk that's on SATA, so /dev/sda. Okay. Let's reboot the machine now. Okay, so it rebooted immediately. Did not wait 90 seconds. What's interesting is the speed of the boot. We have just one CPU. So just one CPU, and the speed of the thing is, check this out, reboot. Okay. Let me give it more CPUs. Okay. Let me shut down the QEMU machine. Ctrl G to exit grab. Power down. Doesn't work. Okay, how do I exit the text user interface web browser? So it's shut down because I was allocating 15 gigabytes of RAM to both of them, and I have just 32, so I don't want to get in a too low RAM situation. Okay, too little RAM. Let's start the Word Manager machine. And now the very last thing to do would be to start the SSH server. Will not detach and does not become a daemon. Let's go -dd. DDE. Yeah, let's do that. SSHD DDE. Okay. execution with an absolute path. What is that? Okay, so server listening on port 22 on 000. There's a private host key. Doesn't say anything about the configuration file. Okay, so let's try to connect from the hardware operating system. Control L, SSH. What's my name in here? Root. At. Where is the network? This thing. Remote host identification changed. Okay, let's remove the /.ssh known host. Connection refused 192, 160, 122.52, port 22. Okay, why he did that? Let's see. Oh, it killed the process. Okay. Yes. Method password. Okay. Let's look at the configuration file. Port 22. Authentication. So it's probably permit root login, but prohibits password. So let's try that. Okay. iMode. I know, yes. And yes, we have SSH. So from here, we have SSH, we have possibilities of downloading software, so wget, lynx. What would be the next thing to do? Just a second. Okay, so the book Stable Systemd for LFS has links that point to the book BLFS, so Beyond Linux from Scratch Stable Systemd, and let's see if we can install something from here. Or about MC. That would be nice to have. So Midnight Commander requires glib and pcre. Does glib depend on something? And there's a patch. Let's see if we can build the glib and then maybe we try MC. Okay, so cd / ls cd sources. Okay. Download this thing. Ctrl+Shift+V. We have copy paste. Okay, no check certificate from now on. Okay, tar -xjvf glibc glib minus. Okay, cd glib. We need a patch, so get back to the parent directory and optional patch for skip warnings. Copy the wget command line. Let's copy this thing into our text file. Ctrl+V, Ctrl+S. Copy link, Ctrl+Shift+V. Okay. cd glib minus. Apply the patch. Install glib. So this is the GTK library. Gobject introspection. Failed to download with error. Yes, it also recommends pcre. So it really must do pcre. Let's try with pcre. cd pwd cd pwd middle click paste works. Ctrl+Shift+V works. tar -xjvf pcre cd pcre. The speed of building is really good because we have allocated 10 vCPUs. But we did not tell it to use 10 CPUs. So we need to do that. Okay. We could run make check. Let's try this. Make sure everything works correctly. Make install. Okay. It contains executables for PC, RE, or per compatible regular expressions, and the needed shared libraries. Okay. What about libxslt? Dependencies depends on libxml2. What about this one? Depends on ICU or not? Not. Let's do libxml2. Okay. This thing. Copy link. Bar minus xjvf libxml. Okay, cd libxml. No test suite. Authoriconf. No get text yet. With Python. Okay, no checks. No HTTP localhost. Make install. Okay. So back to where we were, which is glib, the GTK library. glibc is the GNU-C standard library, and glib is the GTK library. Okay, so I applied the patch. It complained because libxslt was not installed. And it's still not installed. Let's install this thing. cd sources. I didn't download it yet. Copy link. Tar minus xjvf libxslt cd libxslt. Okay, I have libxml installed. I need this set. Yeah, let's go make check. Make install. Okay. Next, glib. This is the moment. So cd sources. Back to glib. Okay. So I've downloaded the patch. I've applied the patch. Let's run this thing again. Ctrl-Shift-D works. Middle click works. Okay, let's just change if the directory exists. Ctrl-Shift-V. Okay, so in here it says that libxsrt or PCRE, these things are recommended by default. The installer, whatever, I don't know, either the Meson step or the Ninja step will try to download, probably using wget if they're not downloaded. So it will download the tarball release, this thing, and it fails because so I'm not sure what's optional from the dependencies if it tries to download all of them. So it tries to download docbook, SourceForge.net, XSL, man pages, docbook, which is probably this thing. It says they're optional, but they're not, because if they're missing, it's going to download them and install them. What about if we go without manual? Causes to build and install package man pages. DGTK doctrue. Let's see. How about if we remove the dman? cd pwd okay, rm-rf build Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-V. So this is the Ninja step, which is equivalent to GNU make. Let's see if this works. So make install. You should now install desktop file utils and shared MIME info and proceed to run the test suite. If this is a reinstall, no. Okay. So back to MC. This thing. So MC. Ctrl-W discard. Ctrl-W discard. So CD sources. Download. So it depends on glib and pcre and recommended slang. Doesn't it use ncursive? There's no slang. Let's do slang first. So pwd https, so we need this no certificate thing. Shift V -x jvf slang slang. Okay, we have pcre, we do not have libpng. Okay, okay, so we have the virtual machine in the virtualization software, which is Word Manager, but we're not using the virtualization software, the console, or what's the name of this thing. We're either connecting using SSH for terminal type connection, or we're using VNC or Xorg XRDP for GUI remote connections via VNC protocol or RDP protocol. Okay, so it built. Make check, this is probably fast. SL shell. Okay, the make install step. And that's it with slang. So we have pcre, we have slang, we have glib. We've downloaded MC. So back to the sources directory. tar -xjf mc cdmc. Okay. What about tests? Make install. Okay, so what we're after is this thing, the mina commander executable, which is a text user interface orthodox file manager. Okay, what about Emacs? Let's see that MC works. It works as expected. This is the sources directory. In here there should be just Linux, the other ones should disappear. Insert. I should do the make CA and P11 again. And maybe wget. F8 to delete all. Okay. F10 to exit. Okay, let's see Emacs. So half buzz no, because I'm not building for GUI. gflip no, I don't do GUI. GNU-TLS probably. libtiv Johnson. I need to tell it to not have GUI. Let's see if I manage to build a Emacs without X11. So cd sources. wget. tar x jvf emacs cd emacs. Okay, so I want to build without X11, so I will not need harfbars, gflip, diff, graphical user interface, Cairo, gsettings desktop, gtk 2 and 3, little cms, libjpeg, turbolib, png, librrsvg, libungif, libxo 3d, none of these things. So I should run configure, help and see what's available. With X and without X. Optional packages, so X is optional. We need prefix, otherwise it goes to /usa/local. With diff equals no. With package equals yes, which is optional. Without package, do not use package, same as with package equals no. What about without all? Let's try this one. So this sounds interesting. The default is without X, and with the system zlib, maybe also the default is okay. Let's see. So let's go with this. The following required libraries are not found GNU-TLS. Okay, depends on nettle. Okay, let's do that, nettle. CD sources, wget nettle tar minus xcvf nettle cd nettle. Okay, make install. So I did nettle. Next, let's do the make ca and p11 again. So p11 and make ca. Okay, tar minus, what is this? xjvf e11. E11. What's libtasen? Let me go with libtasen also. CD sources. wget, Ctrl-Shift-V. Tar minus x zvf. Libtasen. CD libtasen. Okay. So I'm not going to go gtk doc or file grind. I'm going to go make check. Install. If you did not pass enable gtk doc, I did not, you can install the API. Okay. Back to P11 kit. So make ca depends on P11 kit, so it's a recursive dependency, circular dependency. cdp11. Anchor hook. Okay, let's see the test. Okay, so we did P11 kit. Now we need to do make CA. So cd sources. Okay, var -x jvf make CA. cd make CA. Okay. Installation of make.ca. We download and process the certificates included in the cert.data.txt. Additionally, it will generate system certificate stores. So second time with the R switch. Let's call that forced. Okay, so this complains that a executable file is missing. So it says that /usr/bin/ something is missing, right? You should periodically update the store with the above command. Okay. Configuring make CA. Additional CA certificates, so this string. Okay, did not complain at all this time. /usr/bin/trust something. Trust, just trust. But now this thing exists. Occasionally there may be instances where you don't agree with Mozilla's inclusion of a particular certificate authority. If you'd like to override the default, no, I don't want to distrust anything, so just make CA. Okay, great. I now have make CA. Let's see if now I can download HTTPS things without no check certificate parameter to the wget executable. So wget this thing, and it works. Great. So I have a make CA nettle libtazen p11 was this thing unistring. Okay, let's also do this. So copy link wget Ctrl+Shift+V var -x jvf libuni cd libuni. This thing. Okay. Config is done. Now make. U16, U32, U8, print. Okay, make, we ran make successfully, now make install. Okay, back to GNU TLS. So cd sources. Let's extract GNU TLS star -x jvf GNU cd GNU. Okay, so GNU TLS is similar to OpenSSL. Provides support for TLS 1.3, 1.2, 1.1, 1.0, SSL3, TLS extensions, server name, max record size, SRPX 509, open PGP keys, TLS pre-shared keys, inner application, open PGP certificate handling. Okay, so we're at this step, make, where we compile the C language source code. Okay, make install, we'll skip make test this time. And this is it. Now back to Emacs. So we have GNU TLS. Maybe this is for the web browser that can run inside of Emacs, or for the mail client. So this is for GUI. We don't run any X11. This is the same thing. So back to Emacs. So cd sources, cd emacs. So I've ran the configure with just this thing. Let's see if it succeeds. So last time it complained that it could not find GNU TLS. Even though it says that GNU TLS is just recommended, not mandatory. Okay, and we're past the configure step. Now we're at the make step where we compile. Let's see what we just built. Okay, this package installs icons. No icons, no X11. Okay, let's see where we're at. So Emacs tilde/a.txt hello on Emacs. Okay, Control XS, Control XC. Works great. Okay, so we have many command line executables, enough for us to survive there. We have Vim and Emacs. We have a file manager. We have a web browser, maybe more. This thing still complains about SSL certificates. Okay, we need to select the English Wikipedia. Keep answering a ton of times A. And this is it. Wikipedia. What happened in 1986? Okay, Q to quit. Yes, I want to quit. Okay, so the text user interface is we've installed anything that it came to my mind for the text user interface. The next step now would be to install the X server and have graphical user interface, so at least a Xterm, the X server, and then try a VNC server or a Xorg XRDP, whichever comes first. And then Git, and then who knows what else. CMake. Okay, so this is it. Thank you very much.